What if the fungal gold your garden craves is already stacked in your garage, disguised as ordinary Amazon boxes waiting to be transformed into rich, living soil? Those dry, lifeless sheets are actually one of the most powerful carbon sources you can feed your land, and when layered with intention, they ignite a microbial frenzy that builds deep, dark humus in a matter of months. Every successful humus system begins with clean carbon, and cardboard is about as pure as it gets when properly prepared. Strip away all tape, labels, and glossy coatings until you're left with nothing but raw corrugated fiber. That cellulose is the backbone of your future soil, but in its intact form, it's too dense and slow to break down efficiently. Shredding is where the transformation begins. Cut or tear the cardboard into thin vertical strips, exposing those corrugated channels that act like highways for fungi and bacteria to colonize from every angle. Dry cardboard resists life, so hydration is non-negotiable. Soaking those strips in water, ideally infused with a touch of seaweed extract, primes the fibers for rapid colonization. This isn't just about getting them wet, it's about saturating every pore so microbes can move in immediately. Once soaked, the cardboard shifts from inert packaging to a living sponge, ready to host the biological engine that drives humus formation. Cardboard alone won't decompose into fertile soil. Its high carbon content needs a balancing force, and that's where nitrogen-rich greens come in. Fresh grass clippings, coffee grounds, kitchen scraps, and even young weeds bring the protein and energy microbes need to multiply and generate heat. When you spread these greens over your cardboard base, you're not just layering materials, you're setting the stage for a controlled thermal reaction. The balance matters more than most people realize. Aim for roughly 3 parts shredded cardboard to 1 part green material by volume. This ratio creates the ideal carbon to nitrogen balance that allows microbes to thrive without stalling or producing foul odors. Spread the greens evenly, avoiding thick clumps that can collapse into anaerobic pockets. When done right, every inch of your pile breathes, feeding the organisms that convert waste into soil. Now comes the structure that makes this system so effective. Instead of stacking layers flat and compact, arrange them in a loose cross-hatch pattern. This simple adjustment traps pockets of oxygen throughout the pile, which is critical for aerobic decomposition. Oxygen fuels the bacteria that generate heat, and that heat is what drives the rapid breakdown of tough cardboard fibers. As you build upward, lightly dust each layer with a handful of finished compost or forest soil. This introduces indigenous microorganisms that are already adapted to breaking down organic matter. Within days, bacterial activity begins to spike, and the internal temperature climbs into the thermophilic range. That heat is a sign your system is alive, actively transforming industrial waste into something biologically rich and stable. Once the pile is built, your role shifts from builder to steward. Moisture becomes the key variable to monitor. The entire structure should feel like a wrung-out sponge, damp but never dripping. Too dry, and microbial activity slows to a crawl. Too wet, and oxygen is pushed out, leading to stagnation. Consistent moisture keeps the decomposition engine running at full strength. Tracking temperature with a compost thermometer gives you a clear window into what's happening beneath the surface. As the pile heats and cools in cycles, the cardboard softens, darkens, and begins to lose its original form. Then something remarkable happens. Fine white threads of mycelium start weaving through the layers, bridging gaps and binding everything together. This fungal network is the true architect of humus, breaking down complex fibers into stable organic matter that plants can access over time. The transformation is complete when the pile no longer resembles cardboard at all. What was once rigid and pale becomes dark, crumbly, and rich with an earthy scent that signals true humus. At this stage, any remaining fragments can be sifted out and returned to a new pile, while the finished material is ready to feed your soil. Spread this humus into your garden beds and you'll notice immediate changes. The soil holds water longer, drains more evenly, and supports a thriving ecosystem of worms and microbes. Nutrients are released slowly and consistently, creating a stable foundation for plant growth that improves season after season. What started as discarded packaging has become a regenerative force, rebuilding soil from the ground up. Subscribe to Timeless Humus Path for more practical, soil-building techniques that turn everyday waste into long-term fertility and help you grow deeper, richer, living gardens.